What does it take to win a 400-meter race at the elite level? In this video, we compare two standout performances that answer that question in very different ways. Watch how Mary Moraa uses patience and timing to turn the race in her favor, while Lady Paulino delivers a masterclass in control and execution. We go step by step through both races, highlighting tactics, pacing, and critical moments that define the results. If you want to understand the hidden details behind elite sprinting, this breakdown is for you.
51.74 meters in her semi-final. 51.81 in the heat, so she's progressing sturdily. This is her first ever major championship.
Well, a bit of a delay before the start of the women's 400. Not too sure exactly what the issue is.
Yeah, and speaking of Esther Joseph, the 51.74 meters that she ran in the semi-final is her lifetime best. Here they are, getting onto their marks for the final of the women's 400 meters.
So it's Samira, Sise, Joseph, Moraa, Sibiri, Njovu, Malikani, and Hele from Botswana.
And they're off their mark. Final of the women's 400 meters. There'll be a new champion. Look at that. That is Esther Joseph of Nigeria, who's gone out really strong right next to Mary Moraa. She's already way on her way. But also Malikani of Zambia is running well out in lane 8 in bib number 642. Botswana's Lydia Jelly is struggling to keep up. But look at the inside lane for the 20-year-old Nigerian, Esther Joseph. She's taking no chances. Mary Moraa has had to come from behind. Mary Moraa is negotiating that bend like Beckham. She's going to come out here in second place. Now is a race to the finish line. Mary Moraa is coming strongly. So is that Malikani. But it's Mary Moraa. She's way gone. Way gone. Mary Moraa, African Games champion. The Kenyan has absolutely blitzed the line, and now she breaks into the dance like she likes to do every time she wins. Mary Moraa, 800-meter world champion. Now she is 400 meters African Games champion. Mary Moraa, Diamond League winner, world champion, world championship bronze medalist, Commonwealth Games winner, and now she's added to the list. African Games champion over the 400 meters. She was the favorite, the undisputed favorite, Mary Moraa. She was not to be denied, and she absolutely blitzed that. It was a well-executed race from the Kenyan. At the bend, on the home straight, she was running in second. Esther Joseph might just have run out of juice towards the end there, but it was a great race from a Nigerian as well to clinch the silver medal. But yet again, look at the Burkina Bay in the inside lane. It's a great bronze medal for Sita Sibiri as well. But Mary Moraa, wonderful race. There she is, breaks into the dance.
For the Olympic silver medalist from Bahrain, Salwa Eid Nasser, can she do it again here? Paulino had not been beaten by Nasser, had not been beaten for a couple of years in the 400 meters. Will she manage to turn things around here? Gabby Thomas was also ahead of her. Gabby now, as we know, moved down into the short sprints. Then we throw in some new challengers. Alexis Holmes has been here as a racer with Nikisha Price in there 5 and 4. So Alexis knows that in the middle lanes they've got a slight advantage over the challengers, particularly Amber Anning, who we're going to see in a second. There's Nikisha Price. Was only 8th in Kingston in that incredibly fast race, so she'll want to turn that around. So the world indoor champion from Great Britain, been based in the US for quite a few years now, good 200-meter runner as well. Was disqualified actually at the European Indoor Championships. A real shame that was, for lane infringement. Then Stacey Ann Williams, she must look at the times and go, well, I'm pretty good, I've run 50 flat in my career, but that makes me the slowest in this field. Not by much. Then Whittaker on the inside. Actually ran in 800. I'm always curious about 400-meter runners at 2.2 this year.
Really? Okay. This is a walk in the park for her, yeah?
Impressive.
Yeah.
Actually, Amber Anning's last race, 2.6 for an 800. What's going on?
You want that
400-meter runners,
man.
exactly. Just testing an early season.
Yeah.
This, though, about their main event, the 400 meters. So we got Whitaker on the inside, then Williams, Amber Anning, the world indoor champion, in 3. Nikisha Price, Alexis Holmes, Paulino, the Olympic champion, in 6. Nasser, Olympic silver medalist, winner in Kingston, and then Kendall Ellis on the outside.
You know Nasser's going to get out, but Paulino does have her in her sights just outside of her.
Safely away, everybody, round this first turn. Nasser has started quickly. Paulino's going to try and hang on to her, and also gone out pretty quickly Alexis Holmes, as she likes to as well. Amber Anning in lane 3 got some room to make up. There's a big gap between Price and the athletes outside her, so Anning's going to have to check off that. Now, look at this. Nasser out there in lane 7 has gone through the first 200 meters incredibly quickly. Paulino hanging on. Holmes is right there. Amber Anning looks as though others are starting to chase her down. Whitaker has really come through in lane 1, and as that stagger starts to unfurl, we'll put her perhaps in 3rd. But it's Nasser against Paulino. Paulino fighting, trying to get there, has got the momentum. Here she comes, the Olympic champion is going to get the win this time. Paulino, 49.21. Holmes maybe hung on for 3rd place there. Very tired in the last 20 meters.
She had to
Too
do
hard, too fast, what do you think? Very quick through that first 200.
Well, the thing is, she knows that Nasser's a closer, so she knows that she's coming. And like I said, she had to come out here and establish herself. She put the finger up at the finish line just to let y'all know, look, don't forget, I'm still that girl. And you know what? I think it was important for her to maybe lose because she'd been winning so much. So Nasser had to kind of dash that cold water in her face and be like, who are you? And she showed us who she is today.
Time? I mean, we've had such a day today. I mean, that was about a race, though, wasn't it? As you said.
You know, I'm just looking at the time right now as we're speaking because I was caught up in the race.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenal strategy. Just she stalked her around the first turn and just made sure she stayed close. She knew she could close on her edge. It was a fight in that finish line. 49.21. You break 50 point. It's respectable. We know what she can do. Like I said, she came to the home straight away, and you can see all that is a fight. And you can just see that, you know, Nasser obviously broke down, and she could probably hear the footsteps. And athletes do have that feel for the athletes that are around them.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing for the world indoor champion. You can see that Amber Anning in lane 3.
Yeah, not the best finish for her, but lesson learned. And she lined up and... Okay, so I mentioned, you can just look at Paulino's face that she is fighting for this finish. You are not beating me today. Nasser got really, really big with her arms, obviously getting very, very tired. But Paulino now knows that her speed is where it needs to be. She knows that she's going to have the strength. And she actually knows that Nasser's not going to beat her in that 200. So going into that, she's got confidence to just win the whole thing and get herself a slam championship.
Yeah, just by contrast, at 200 meters, Nasser was 3/10 ahead. And, you know, that doesn't...
The women's 400 meters has long been a stage where raw speed meets tactical intelligence, but across 2 very different races, one at the African Games in Accra and the other at the Grand Slam Track Tour in Miami, the event revealed just how many ways greatness can manifest. In African Games 2024, the spotlight belonged to Mary Moraa, an athlete known globally for her dominance in the 800 meters. Yet this final was not just another race, it was a return to her origins. Before she became a world champion over 2 laps, Moraa was a 400-meter runner. And in Accra, she revisited that identity with purpose. The race itself unfolded with intensity from the very first strides. Young talents, particularly Esther Joseph, injected aggressive early pace into the race. Joseph, riding momentum from a personal best in the semifinals, attacked the first half with fearless intent. By the 200-meter mark, Moraa was not leading. In fact, she appeared momentarily vulnerable, positioned behind the early leaders, seemingly outpaced. But what followed defined the difference between emerging potential and proven excellence. Moraa remained composed. Her rhythm stayed controlled, while others began to pay the price for their early aggression. Entering the final 120 meters, the shift became visible. She didn't surge recklessly. She calculated, closed the gap step by step, and then, on the home straight, executed with precision. As Joseph faded, Moraa accelerated, her stride opening and cadence sharpening, transforming a tight race into a decisive victory. This was not just a win, it was a demonstration of race intelligence. Moraa showed that in the 400 meters, patience can be just as powerful as speed. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic at the Grand Slam track tour in Miami, the narrative was entirely different, but equally compelling. Here, the race was built on confrontation between specialists. At the center stood Marilady Paulino, one of the most consistent and dominant 400-meter runners in the world. Unlike Moraa, Paulino is not transitioning between disciplines. She is a pure quarter-miler, refined through years of elite competition. Facing her was Salwa Eid Nasser, an athlete capable of extraordinary times and known for her aggressive front-running style. Nasser had recently delivered a stunning 48.67 performance, signaling peak form. The field around them, featuring names like Kendall Ellis, Alexis Holmes, and Amber Anning, only elevated the stakes. Nearly every athlete had broken the 50-second barrier. There was no room for error. From the gun, the Miami race was fast, but unlike Accra, it was not chaotic. It was structured, calculated, and brutally efficient. Nasser pushed hard early, as expected, trying to impose her rhythm on the race. But Paulino, known for her impeccable distribution, stayed within herself. Where Moraa had to chase, Paulino controlled. Through the backstretch and into the final bend, Paulino maintained perfect positioning. Then, as the race entered its decisive phase, she executed one of the most reliable finishing patterns in modern sprinting. Her acceleration was not explosive in appearance, but devastating in effect. Step by step, she dismantled the field, asserting dominance with clinical precision. If Moraa's victory in Accra was about patience overcoming chaos, Paulino's performance in Miami was about mastery over structure. The contrast between these two races highlights two distinct models of excellence in the 400 meters. Moraa represents adaptability, a middle-distance champion stepping down in distance, relying on composure, race reading, and late strength to overcome early disadvantages. Her win speaks to versatility, the ability to succeed outside one's primary domain through intelligence and control. Paulino, on the other hand, represents specialization perfected. Every phase of her race, from the opening strides to the final meters, is optimized. She does not react to the race, she defines it. And yet, despite their differences, both performances share a common truth. The 400 meters is not simply a test of speed, it is a test of judgment. In Accra, Moraa judged the moment to strike, and waited until it mattered most. In Miami, Paulino judged the pace to maintain, and never allowed it to slip. Two races, two champions, two philosophies. One event that continues to prove that greatness is not defined by how a race begins, but by how it is finished.